If you think a flat envelope means a boring card, well, think again. Today I'm setting sail with a brand new Kat Scrappiness Pirate Release to create an eye catching 3D pop up scene that literally jumps out of the mailbox. I'll also be sharing a secret for layering those wood grain waves so they pop beautifully without ever snagging. Hi, I'm Revati and welcome to RP underscore Shutterbug where we craft, color, and have a whole lot of fun. Let's dive right in. This new release is packed with so many cute and adorable stamps paired with coordinating dies, a super versatile pack of pattern papers, and a fun set of fun filled sentiments that instantly make your cards more playful. Now, before jumping into the construction of the card, I went ahead and did a little prep work off camera. I stamped a few of those images and colored them using my alcohol markers. Since our focus here today is really building up the pop up mechanism, I wanted to get all of the coloring out of the way so we can concentrate more on the interactive elements. Now, let's move on to creating the pop up feature. For this card, I'll be using the Cat Scrappiness 3D pop up box die. And well, I have to say, if you love interactive cards or display style cards, this is truly a game changer. The base die comes with four essential dies, including the main frame and three tier pieces that create the depth inside the box. Cat Scrappiness also offers several add on sets that allow you to customize the look of those tiers with different shapes. There's a add on grass die, which I used for this sample piece right here, which will give you that beautiful grass effect on your finished projects. They also have waves and stitched hill add on dies that give you more creative flexibility to create projects depending on the background or on the scene that you wish to create. Well, for today's card, I'll be using the stitched hill add on to build out our scene. For the main frame, as well as for the three stitched hill tiers, I'll be pulling out papers from the new Pirate Quokka paper pad, which ties in perfectly with the theme and adds instant interest to the pop up design. The base layer or the main frame measures 6 and 3/4 inches in length, while the pattern paper from the paper pad is only 6 inches long. This means that there'll be a small gap that we left uncovered if we use the pattern paper on its own. So to avoid that, what I like to do is to make sure that the entire background of the main frame is covered in the pattern paper. And then I will cut the main frame again with white cardstock. Then I layer the pattern paper on top of it. This layer does two things. It gives me a seamless pattern background inside the pop-up box, and it also adds extra stability to the entire mechanism. Adhering the pattern paper to the white cardstock helps reinforce the structure of the pop-up mechanism, which is especially helpful for interactive cards like these. Once that's done, I trimmed off both the edges from the or both the flaps from the pattern paper and adhered it flat onto my card base using liquid glue, making sure everything lines up perfectly and stays secure. To create my flaps or tiers, I decided to use the wood grain pattern paper from the paper pad. I love this choice instantly because it gives a look and feel of a wooden ship deck, which works perfectly with the pirate theme, while still allowing the waves and the other elements in the background to shine. Once I had my paper selected, I went ahead and I cut all the three tier pieces. Now, if you take a closer look at these wood grain tiers, you will notice there are small tabs or flaps on each end of these pieces. These little tabs are very important because this is exactly where we'll be adding our adhesive to build a pop-up structure. Now I will first fold the flaps, and well, when it comes to interactive card designs like this one, I personally prefer using strong double-sided tape rather than liquid glue. Double-sided tape gives me much more precision and control during the assembly, and I don't have to worry about any excess adhesive squeezing out. With pop up cards, even a small amount of glue in the wrong spot can cause the mechanism to stick or stop opening properly. So, using tape helps ensure that everything pops up and folds flat smoothly every single time. To assemble and place the tiers, I always like to start with the smallest piece first. I begin by removing the backing of the double sided tape on one side of the tier. Then I carefully adhere it along the edge of the white flap on my main frame. Next, I move on to the middle layer. This one gets attached right next to the shorter flap on the main frame, making sure it sits neatly and lines properly. Taking your time here really helps the pop up mechanism work smoothly. One more important thing to keep in mind is not to adhere all of these layers in a straight line. Staggering the placement of the tiers is what creates the depth and allows the pop up to open and close correctly. Finally, for the third and the largest layer, I adhered it right along the fold of the main frame. This placement gives the scene its full dimension and ensures that all the layers collapse flat when the card is closed and pop open beautifully when it's taken out of the envelope. Next, I'm going to remove the adhesive backing from all the remaining flaps on each of those tiers on the other side. Now, once those backings are off, I carefully lay the entire pop-up assembly flat on my work surface. I like to do this slowly and deliberately so that nothing shifts out of place. Before attaching anything permanently, I take a moment to double check that all the tiers are perfectly aligned. I will also score the other side of the flap just to make sure that everything lines up perfectly. I make sure they are sitting in a straight line, evenly spaced, and not twisted or angled in any way. This step is really important because proper alignment ensures that the pop up box will fold completely flat when closed and open smoothly without catching onto anything. Now, once I'm happy with the placement, I gently close the flap of the mainframe over the tiers, pressing down firmly along the edges to secure everything in place. I like to run my fingers along the folds to reinforce them and make sure that the adhesive has a good strong hold. And with that, our 3D pop up box frame is officially finished. The interactive structure is now fully assembled and ready to go. From here, all that's left to do is the fun part, which is adding our pre-colored images, building out the scene, and decorating the pop-up box however we like to bring this card to life. Just like we added extra stability to the main frame by layering the pattern paper onto the white cardstock base, I follow the same approach with my focal point images as well. Now, since these images are attached to moving parts of the pop-up mechanism, I want them to be strong and secure without adding any unnecessary bulk. I adhered my focal point images using liquid glue, applying it along the very edges. This gives me a little bit of wiggle room for positioning while still creating a strong bond once it dries. Now, to add even more stability, I die cut extra pieces of those pirate images from plain white cardstock and layered it behind the colored one. I then adhered these stacked images onto the flaps, making sure they sit firmly in place and don't wobble as the card opens and closes. I also want to mention that for any interactive card design that I create, I always recommend using heavyweight cardstock, especially for the main frame and for the focal point images that pop out of the mechanism. That added thickness really helps the card hold its shape and stand up to repeated opening and closing. To complete the scene, I added the pirate, his little treasure box filled with jewelry, and Mr. Krabby to each of those tiers using liquid glue. I used my reverse tweezers to hold each of those images in place while the adhesive set. How fun and easy is this box card to create? You could absolutely add more images and really build out the scene even further, but I decided to keep mine just as is, with one little pirate and Mr. Krabby keeping him company. I was really in mood for something clean and simple, but still wanted that interactive element to be the star of the card. That's exactly why I chose not to add any more stamped images and keep the design more to the minimal. For my sentiment, I went with a fun, playful phrase that reads, "You are a treasure," from the Pirate Sentiment stamp set. To give it a bit more personality and make it feel like as if the pirate is actually speaking to us, I wanted to create a speech bubble style look. So I stamped the sentiment onto a piece of white cardstock and then die cut it using the stitched speech bubble craft die, again by Kat Scrappiness, which adds just the right amount of detail while still keeping everything cohesive and clean. I strategically positioned the speech bubble right next to my pirate and adhered it using liquid glue. Now, placing it close to the focal point image helps tie the scene together and makes it look like he's really speaking the sentiment. Now, one important thing to keep in mind when it comes to making box cards is to pay close attention to the height of all your elements, whether it's your stamped images, embellishments, or sentiments. Everything needs to fit neatly under the main frame. If any of those pieces extend above the top of the frame, the card won't fold and fit into your normal A2 size envelope, and you might end up needing a larger envelope. The great thing about this particular design is that it fits perfectly into a standard A2 size envelope. And since I kept all the elements simple and did not add a lot of bulk, the card is lightweight and easy to mail out. Standard postage will be more than enough to send out this interactive pop up card to someone special, making it both fun to create and practical to share. And there you have it, a fun interactive box card that really pops and brings your scene to life. I absolutely love how versatile and playful this design is, and the brand new Kat Scrappiness Pirate Release made it so easy to create this little adventure. From pattern papers and adorable stamps to coordinating dies and fun sentiments, there's so much you can do with this set. If you're a fan of interactive cards or just love seeing pop up magic in action, don't forget to check out my interactive cards playlist, where you'll find plenty of tutorials, tips and tricks, and inspirations to help you create more cards that move, pop, and wow your recipient. I will be sure to link all the supplies that I used to create this card in the description down below. Please note that all of these links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using one of my links, I'll get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.